So hi, this is Matt Stait from Martial Arts GB Business Group, and today I'm talking with Dave Curry, aka Dave Voodoo. How you doing, my friend?
All right, mate. You're good, man.
I'm good. I'm going to ask you in a moment regards the name there, just to clear that up. But first and foremost, can you just give people a brief overview of who you are and what you do?
Yeah. I'm really head coach of Voodoo Combat, owner and head coach. Started back about 2006, but I've been martial arts since I was 16, which is a long time ago now. So that's maybe 37 years or something like that. Started off in striking, kickboxing, boxing, Muay Thai, karate, and then retired from that at 30. Retired from competitive fighting at about 30, and then took up wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Couldn't leave it alone, so competed at that as well, and did a little bit of MMA, and then started my own gym, and I'm teaching it all now. So I'm teaching it all.
Right. Okay. No, fair enough. Yeah, that's quite an impressive resume over a large number of years. So let's talk about your name then to start with, because we were talking just a little bit off camera, and I've only ever known you as Dave Voodoo, and it turns out that I've been calling you the wrong thing all this time.
Well, my real name's Dave Curry. It's a Hungarian name. My father's Hungarian, but the Voodoo came from the gym's name. Because the gym was Voodoo, I don't hold titles. Everyone at the gym calls me Dave. Okay, so when people talk about me and they go, when Dave said this or whatever, go, Dave who? So they go, Dave, Voodoo, Dave Voodoo. And it kind of started like that. And then ever since then, everyone just called me Dave Voodoo. And now Amanda, my wife, she's Amanda Voodoo. She had that stuck. Even at my wedding, they introduced us as Mr. and Mrs. Voodoo. So it stuck.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So you mentioned there that you don't do titles and things at your gym. So there's no coach or sensei or sifu?
Look, everyone knows I'm the coach. You'll refer to me as he's my coach, but you don't call. The odd person calls me coach, and the odd person I've known for like 20 years, they'll call me sensei. But nearly everybody's on first name terms. We've got a team of like 10, 12 coaches all together at the gym, and everyone's on first name basis. Everyone calls. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of respect there, and nobody back chats a coach when he's shouting at them. It's all on first names.
Yeah. No, that's interesting, because I'm the same. I mean, I'm just Matt. In the nicest possible way. I've got a huge amount of respect for martial arts and the systems that are in place for that. But we just the systems at our place is just everyone calls me Matt, and it's just kind of the natural progression. So with regards to that then, so that's where you are now, but what actually started you on your journey in the first place? What made you take up martial arts?
Well, that's a good question, actually. I'm a little guy. You've met me. I'm not exactly a big guy. And at school, I was even smaller, as you can imagine. And I used to get bullied quite a bit. And I started to kind of stand up for myself when about 14 years old. But although I stood up for myself, I still kept getting battered and getting hurt quite badly. And a brown belt in karate, when I was 16, basically made me go to a local karate gym. And I said, you need this. Okay, you need it. More than anyone, you need this. And I'd seen Bruce Lee movies. I'm a big fan of Bruce Lee movies, but I'd never had the nerve to walk into a gym or a dojo. And I took up karate from there, and I just fell in love with it. Although I couldn't kick, by the way. It took me so long to learn how to kick. People think I was a natural. I just wasn't. I'm not a natural fighter. I had to really work at everything, absolutely everything. But I did fall in love with it, and I persevered, and here we are.
Yeah. So what you find, because that's an interesting point actually, and I find this is that there are some people that are absolutely exceptional martial artists, but terrible coaches because they were just gifted naturally and fell into it and they could do it, whereas other people had to work really, really hard. Is that your experience?
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. In fact, I've had this conversation umpteen times over the years. First of all, I find naturally gifted guys really hard, and ladies, of course, are very hard to coach because they're naturally gifted. So they don't have the need to practice and repeat and just keep working the details. Okay, so it's hard to convince them that they need to put the hours in, but and so sometimes they're hard to coach. Somebody like myself who wasn't natural at all, because they have to put the hours in, the depth of understanding of a technique is amazing, because they take months to learn something that perhaps a talented person can get in a week, you know? So they know everything about it. And that person, a really good coach, because they know how they got from A to B. Whereas a talented person just doesn't know how they got there. They just happen to have their brain connections already there. Yeah. And they just happen to have it. And they get frustrated with people that maybe don't, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, totally. So one of the things that you said at the start is when you mapped out your sort of your experience and stuff, I don't think really you gave yourself enough credit, which is often the case I find when I say to people, tell us a little bit about yourself. And you know, you've done an awful lot of stuff over the years, and one of the things that is sort of interesting amongst that is obviously you hold a black belt in BJJ. But that's something that you came to later on in life, and
I did.
How was that journey with regards to your age and everything in that? Because that's a rough old road.
Oh, it is, yeah. It was really quite funny, because my body was taking a hell of a battering. I was competing in dying K1 style kickboxing until I was 29, 30 years old, and I retired from that because of the amount of damage I took. I can see my good looks and things. You can see where that came from. And but the thing is that I tried to retire for a couple of years from any martial arts, and just teaching privately, and it was killing me, absolutely killing me. But I realised there was a gap as well in my game, and that was on the ground. I had a little bit of ground game, but I knew there was a big gap there, and it bothered me, and it just niggled me in the back of my head for nearly 2 years. So I joined a submission wrestling gym in Stockport called Revolution. And I walked in there because I was a Thai boxer, ex-Thai boxer. I was warming up like a Thai boxer and moving around like a Thai boxer. And then this skinny kid, he was my size. I'm not now, but I used to be 60 kilo when I fought. And this guy was the same size as me. And I thought, I'm going to take him apart. And he put me on the floor. He kept me there. And I was terrified. I didn't know why. I didn't know how this guy had got me on the floor in the first place, let alone why I couldn't get up. Okay. So, and then he submitted me. Thought, right, I'm going to learn that. I've got to learn that. Whatever he just did to me, I've got to learn that. Okay. And from there on, I was hooked. And then about a year later, some of the guys in the gym were putting a gi on. And I thought, oh, I'm not wearing pajamas. You know, I'm not doing that. And then, but them two guys who had a gi on, they were better, quicker than we were. I didn't like that either. So I bought myself a gi. And I stuck it on, and then now I did wrestling and jiu-jitsu. So that's how it kind of started. And never looked back from that. But it was very hard to find a jiu-jitsu black belt them days, Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. So my coach was from South Africa, believe it or not. We used to fly him across once a year, and he used to give us instruction. We'd practice it for 3 months, and then we fly him across again, you know. And that's how it kind of worked them days. But there's a lot more. Well, I say a lot. There isn't that many BJJ black belts, but there's a lot more than there used to be when I started.
Yeah, and obviously it's evolved as well in the past 20 years. BJJ of today is such a different beast to the BJJ of, shall we say, the UFC days.
Yeah, without a doubt, because now the emergence of wrestling as well being involved in it is you can't do one without the other if you want to be any good, you know. So you've got to be able to take the gi off and wrestle without the gi too. You don't have both sets of tools, you're missing a big piece out of the game, you know. So there's loads of people that don't take the gi off that will be kind of handicapped against the guys who can do both, and vice versa. The guys who never put gi on, they don't have certain things that the other guys don't. You know, you've got to do both.
Yeah, well, again, it's one of those where it's interesting that one of the things about you that again for me stands out is the fact that you're a high-level BJJ guy, but you also have a high level in things like catch wrestling as well, because normally it's one or the other, shall we say.
It is.
And I have a passion for catch. I love catch. I just that to me is a thing of beauty. However, the mindset seems to be slightly different. So what does one do for the other with regards to fitting the gaps?
That's a really good question. I find that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a true artist's art. Yeah. And there's techniques in there that's so elaborate and beautiful, unbelievable. Yeah, and they're very functional. Don't get me wrong, but they're very elaborate. Whereas with catch wrestling, it's more of a big hammer, small nail. You know, and I love that. It's very brutal. There is finesse, but it's functional finesse. If it doesn't do something, why are you doing it? You know, so it's very direct. So a good catch wrestler is good at pressure, good at causing discomfort. So I'm going to force you to give me your limb so I can submit you, because I'm going to make it so uncomfortable that you just don't want to be there. It's not like you have time to escape. You have to escape because you can't breathe or you're in so much pain, you know. And I want to make it that uncomfortable. So that's a catch wrestler kind of attitude. Whereas a BJJ one is, I want to catch you cleverer than you. You know what I mean? Rather than I'm just going to torture you until you give me the submission. You know?
that's quite a good way of describing that, to be honest. You mentioned your competitive career, and I've got to flag this up because I have to ask you about this. There's this thing I found where basically it was highlighting the biggest fight of your career, and you were apparently stepping out of a 20-year retirement to face the epic Tay the Coach Slayer Luke. Tell me about that, my friend.
He's actually Taylor. Taylor is actually my niece's son. Okay, right. And he came to train with us for a while. I can't believe you saw that. And we were trying to raise a bit of charity money and a little bit of publicity for the gym. And he wanted a fight, and he was, I can't remember, 11 years old, something like that. So he basically challenged me to a kickboxing match. So yeah, okay. So we made a big deal out of it, and I got people to tell me I had photos, you know, face to face. So we did make a real big deal out of it. It's quite cool. I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, and made a good few quid for a good cause. So
yeah, without a doubt. Yeah,
worth doing. Yeah,
and it was good fun doing it. You know, you can't have too much ego in this game. You know, you can't take yourself too seriously. You know.
Well, that's that. Again, I'm not going to go into too much in depth on that, but again, sometimes I find that maybe that is an issue for some people, is they can't see a sense of humor in themselves, and yeah, not a bad thing to laugh at yourself on occasion. So
no, not at all.
And on that note, funny enough, it brings me to another thing that I had to ask, because I tend to have a little poke around just to sort of clarify who I'm talking to and find something of interest to discuss, what have you. Even if I know the person, I like to do that because it's interesting. And so I went onto your Facebook club page and I had a look at the reviews.
Oh, right, okay.
Have you seen the reviews on your Facebook club page?
There's quite a few, mate. I've seen the odd few.
Well, there's two that came up, and it was really odd because one of them was basically it was saying how good you guys were at how to get your ex-lover back fast, and another one was the best spellcaster and a great wizard.
I've seen that. I saw that. I can't believe that.
So I thought I'm going to need to ask about this. So how do you get your ex-lover back fast? Is there a particular spell you use?
I have no idea. I had no idea how that review came about at all. The wizard spellcaster one, somebody obviously been clicking on about Voodoo, and somebody's just trying to get a bit of promotion off the back of our popularity, and they keep recommending some witch doctor apparently for spells off the back of our gym.
Okay,
I can't vouch for him. He may be great.
Yes. Yeah, well, I'm not going to say anything otherwise in case he's got one of them little dolls with pins, right? You know.
Exactly.
So, that's fine. But it just made me laugh, so I thought I'd have to mention that. But going back to something a little more serious, you it also states that in 2016 you won Sports Person of the Year.
Yeah, who knew it? Yeah. That surprised the hell out of me. This was like the best kept secret apparently, because I had no idea. I actually turned up to the awards evening actually thinking it was a school project for one of our 15, 16-year-old members, right, whose father also trains with. He's one of the coaches team, and now that young lad is also training up as one of our kept coaches as well. Cool. But they got between them with Amanda and kind of set me up with this award. And everybody at the gym knew about it because they all had to give statements and things like this about what kind of coach it was and things. It was great. It's a lovely evening, big surprise, you know, nice little trophy for the mantelpiece, like, you know. But
Yeah.
I was really humbled by it, by the things they were saying about me and things like that. Really humbled. Yeah.
No, that's really nice to know that everybody felt that way about you. But also, I mean, it's really good to be out in the public domain outside of the martial arts field, because
It is.
normally, you know, there's other sports that sort of take the fall, don't they, like that?
Without a doubt, without a doubt. It was a surprise, actually, being just another martial arts gym,
Mm.
that they actually even considered us for that award. But there was quite a bit of demand, apparently. Well, my name was put forward a few times, which surprised me, and that's how we got the award. Yeah, I say we because it isn't just really my award, is it? It's everybody at the gym. It's their award too. I didn't get there on my own. I didn't. It wasn't magic there. It was the team of other coaches behind me and all the members. That's who got me that award.
Yeah, no, fair play, and absolutely, it's the same with any sort of gym or setup or anything. It is the community, it is the group, it is that's what
It is, isn't it?
makes us. It's very hard to train on your own, as some of us are finding out. We need partners, we need people. So
Yeah, dead right.
So when we look at your journey coming through now, and because I'm the same in the nicest possible way. I'm not a young man anymore. I ache. I'm broken in places. You know. How do you maintain your own personal sort of training then? Because I know you're one of these people that actually does train. You don't just teach.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. It can be difficult. The older you get, as you know, the harder it is. I find that I'm balancing it. At one time when I was younger, I used to do the majority of my training was on the mat, actually doing the martial art itself. Can't be like that anymore. Well, I'm 53 now, so it's been more prevalent in the last 3 or 4 years than any other time. My body's just taking real battery. So you have to do more conditioning for martial arts than the martial arts itself. So maybe a bit more weights, a bit more yoga and stretching type thing. Maintenance, you're just going to maintain your body. Getting a sauna once a week, getting a massage when you need it, seeing a regular therapist to get all them little niggles sorted out, injuries sorted out as and when you get them. Pay more attention to that. I find that I'm doing more 60% of that and only 40% of the martial arts now. So instead of doing a hard hour and a half every night in the gym, hitting the mats with the young 20-year-olds and, you know, trying to live up to that, I can't do that anymore. Okay, so I'm looking at a hard 1 hour and nothing the next day to recover, maybe weight training, stretching, go for a run, do something else other than smashing the hell out of my body. And then following that, do it again. So I only have 3 or 4 hard sessions a week, as opposed to the younger ones that are doing hard sessions every night and not listening to me when I tell them to stretch off, not listening to me when I tell them to go for a massage and get your injury sorted out. I know they're not going to listen to it. I can say it all a lot because I did the same, right? You did too, right? Now it makes more sense, and it's important. If I want to carry on, because I've just taken up Sambo and Judo as well now, under Georgia, so I'm still learning, right? So I want to add that to my game. Well, his gym, all his guys know who I am, right? So I've got a big target on my back. So I've got to manage that, make sure I don't get injured. And if I do get injured, I'm going to manage that too, you know, and things like this. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, again, I'm not trying to say anything down about anything, but my goodness me, at 53 years of age, to take up judo and sambo, getting thrown around like that by all the young guys. I mean, you're not taking it easy on yourself, are you?
Well, yeah. Well, I do it on my 2 days off. That's what I do.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, fantastic add-on, because you know, being sensible for a minute, the judo sambo space is a fantastic place to put, you know, in between the ground and the stand-up, because that middle ground is perfect for that. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm doing for. I mean, I've got good stand-up wrestling, really good. I mean, that's where my heart is, and the wrestling, the catch wrestling, also a lot of Greco-Roman wrestling in there as well. But with the gi, you can't be the sambo and the judo guys. These guys know how to get you from one place to another with a gi on. And without a gi, if you're looking at the sambo guys got a really good rounded game, you know, and they're tough. They're not an easy martial art. You know, these two martial arts are tough martial arts, and that's what I like. I like the practicality. I like the functionality of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, awesome, and fair play to you, because that's a tough field to sort of go into at this kind of age range. I don't envy you that, to be honest. So if you're looking at your students and your guys that compete with you and all that sort of thing, and is there anything specific you look for in a student, or any qualities or traits that you would try to avoid?
There's a lot to avoid, isn't there? But first of all, the traits I'm looking for: hard workers. I'm not after talented people anymore. I used to want talented fighters. I always said, give me a gym full of talented fighters, I'll get champions. And it's so hard to coach them, as we've said. But if you give me a hard worker, give me someone who works hard, who wants to learn. That's who's going to compete well. They're the people I can prepare for fights and competition, and they'll win. I can make them guys win, because they're going to come back. Even when they lose, I don't see competition anymore as this is the goal. I see competition now as part of your training. It's a heavy roll, or it's a heavy spar, yeah, and you come away and you learn from that, okay? So it doesn't matter if you win or lose. I know that when you're in the ring, it does matter, but afterwards, I wanted to say, all right, okay, so I lost that. I want to taser out of the way and beat yourself up about it for the next few days. Come back in the gym. Let's figure out why. Why did you lose? Why do you think you lost? And then start analysing the fight and your performance, things like this. Because if you're genuinely hard workers, they want to know why. You're going to hit the grindstone straight away. As soon as I say, well, look, when I told you to put your hands up, you bloody well didn't, did you? And that's it. And then it's like, all right, okay, and that's what will work, or whatever it might be. But yeah, it's the hard worker I'm looking for. I don't like lazy fighters. If you're a lazy fighter, sooner or later you might be talented, but you're gonna get your backside handed to you by somebody who's a hard worker. That's really what I'm after.
Totally. So I'm afraid we're coming up to the end of our time here, but how can people reach out to you if they want to? If they want to connect, how can they do that?
Oh yeah, you can grab us almost a million different ways. You can get on the website. There's phone numbers there. You can phone us directly. There's always one of us ready to answer the phone. You can email us. We've got Facebook. We've got Instagram. Just look for either Voodoo Combat or Dave Voodoo or Amanda Voodoo. Anything with Voodoo in it, and it's C Martial Arts. That's us. Okay, so and yeah, just drop us a line, and we'll come back to you as soon as we can. And just come in the gym. Where obviously when it's open, come in the gym, come and talk to us, have a look around. We don't mind people coming in and looking. A lot of gyms are quite close to the public and what appointments and things. We don't care. You come in, have a look around, have a cup of tea, have a chat, and we'll take it from there.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for giving us your time, and really enjoyable chat, Dave. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, Matt.